Lady Kay.
Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Lady Kay Chat, a podcast that has been designed for divorced women to become a better version of themselves. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationship, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. The shows will be aired every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by the lovely host, who is an international speaker, two-time Amazon bestseller author, and a divorce life coach, Kalima, aka Lady Kay. And now for your host, Lady Kay. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in into Holiday Blues, and today we're going to talk about the infidelity part, and one of the reasons why people get so depressed and they don't want to be around you, and the holidays is just not exciting to them. So today I have the pleasure of having a guest of Dr. Lois out of the town of Atlanta, Georgia. How are you today?
I'm doing great. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
I'm so excited.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. I always get excited when people accept my invitation because they could say no to me, but I appreciate it.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Laura. So yes, today we're going to get a little bit touchy, and I'm sure you're probably used to this because you do this on a day-to-day basis. But infidelity, that is such a hot topic to talk on, and the things that actually people think that some things are not considered infidelity. So today I'm gonna need you to give them an education, Laura.
Okay, well, let's get right into it. Infidelity, there are different types of infidelity. That
Right.
is the first thing. And you're right. A lot of times people can feel like, oh, well, we didn't have sex, so what's the problem? But there are different types. So there's one type called emotional infidelity. And so that's where there is sharing about like intimate details of your life with another person. A lot of times people refer to this as, oh, that's just my work wife or my work husband. But when the bond
I hate those
gets
terms,
tight,
by the way.
Me too. I'm right there with you. I feel the same way. But a lot of affairs start that way. And so I think that's what people miss is that, like, you sharing intimate details of your life, it leads to just the opening of many doors. And so that's one type of affair, is emotional infidelity.
Okay. And you know what, as you was talking, you know what it kind of triggered in my mind when you said, work husband, work wife, and people like to lose that loosely, that people don't realize the power of words. I mean, I know sometimes we can just speak, oh, I'm just joking, but you don't realize sometimes when you are in that work environment and how you treat that person, knowing that you have a spouse at home. And then people want to know why I'm so connected, because you still got soul ties.
That's right. And so sometimes that happens when a disconnection has happened in their primary relationship, and then the person starts saying something to them like, oh, you look nice today, and then they start maybe having lunch together, and then it just grows and grows and grows to the point where, like you said, it's a soul tie.
Right. It's so crazy. That's why you really, I don't know about you, but you got to stay prayed up out here, and you really got to be careful with your words and everything that you do, because like you said, little things like this seeps in, and then your mind start wondering, like, what if the grass is greener? And I know 99% of the time that's what people think.
Absolutely. That's oftentimes a common thought of, oh, this person is always willing to be there for me, or do things for me, or talk to me, and they care about me, they listen to me. And you can really get caught up into thinking that the grass is green on the other side, to your point.
Right, exactly. So I know you said emotional cheating. We all know about the physical. Is there another one?
Yes. So also including in physical, sometimes people would just think about sex, but it's also more than that. Kissing, touching, caressing, all of that ties into a physical affair. And then there's the exit affair. The exit affair is where the person really wants to get out of the relationship, but they don't want to just be, open with their mate for different reasons. Sometimes people don't want to tell their mate where they are emotionally because of fear of like how they're going to respond. So they start the affair is to kind of help them get out of the relationship. So
Right.
that's the exit affair. And then there are one night stands where there's no emotional connection. It may be for a person that travels, they just travel for that night, and while they're traveling they connect with somebody. Or in other cases, I've seen people where they have a series of one night stands where is that if there's someone in their city that they see different people but only for one time. And so a lot of times in those cases there may be an addiction, and so we definitely look at sexual addiction and if there's any history of trauma.
Right. Wow. Yeah, because you know what? I do know a couple of people where it's like, whoa, you need to slow down. It's real out there. There's STDs out there.
Come
And they
on.
just be, no condoms. And I'm like, you do know you had a one night stand, right? Like, yes. So I don't understand people thought process when they just don't think about all the consequences.
Yeah, and in fact, in 62% of the cases, people do not use condoms when they cheat. And so, in addition to STDs, a lot of times what comes up, what I see is unwanted pregnancies. And in those cases, the person may be wanting their relationship, but they may struggle with dealing with this child that is born out of the affair relationship.
That's another one. Whoo. That's a story all by itself. That's
Mm-hmm.
a topic all by itself. After infidelity, it produces a baby because I do know some people that stayed, and I do know some people that drift apart because of that. That's a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely, Kalima. It absolutely is a tough one because in counseling, some of the things that we work through is dealing with the anxiety. Like for a person who has had an affair and there's a child born, sometimes there's anxiety about around pickups and drop offs for the child. Like when they go to pick up the child, is it going to be like more that happens there, or when they encounter that other person, how do they deal with that? And so those are some of the things we would work on.
Question for you, because you made me something trigger. You said, sometimes when people have to do the pickup and drop off, they may get anxiety. Is the anxiety because they feel like maybe they don't want to be around you because you just bring back flashbacks? Is that what it
Yes.
is?
So for the person that was cheated on, a lot of times they feel anxious when their significant other has to go pick up their child or drop off the child that was born out of the affair relationship because they
Right.
fear that something else might get back started.
Mm. And then what about the person, right? That let me see how I can put this. The person that say like there's a husband and wife, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
split due to infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why this happens sometimes too, but it's like I see it a lot. But sometimes, the woman, it'll take her a little bit longer to heal. She'll move on eventually, and you see the guy that's real quick get with another woman, and then when it's time to co-parent, it's the biggest struggle of it all. And it's like, why do that have to happen? Like the man, you clearly made it seem like you stepped out. It wasn't a problem to you. In a result of that, wife split. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand why some men feel like they have to give the wife a hard time when they were the one who committed the act of infidelity. Why do men do that?
Let me make sure I got the question right. So the husband cheats
Right.
and then the wife stays or
No, the
leaves the
wife the
relationship?
wife leaves.
The
They
wife
they
leaves.
split because of that. Because the result of the infidelity and it produced a baby. But when the husband moved on, he kind of makes it seem like he's not over the wife. but he kind of make it seem like, it's her fault. That's why he's acting the way he's acting.
Oh yeah, I do see that come up because a lot of times when the person is cheating, they are not really thinking rationally. Like they just a lot of times I see that they're kind of living in this fantasy world where inside the fantasy bubble they have this person that just meets their needs. And so they feel excited. They feel like, okay, I'm getting all my needs met. Say the wife is meeting, say 80% of their needs, and say the mistress is meeting like 20% of their needs. Say the mistress is meeting the physical needs. And so in this moment, the person feels like, oh, you just made me so happy. Because the thing is, when you don't have a need that's being met, it can feel so big, like so major. But when reality sets in and they actually leave their marriage for the other person, then now they're faced with, man, this wasn't all what I thought that it was. And so that's when they start to kind of feel some of the impact of their choices. And then sometimes anger, sometimes sadness comes up and they don't know how to deal with it. And so then they project it onto the other person.
Right. And can I ask you a question? I'm pretty sure you've probably seen a lot of cases like this. I don't know if men are more open and, or willing to get open, because I know sometimes men just, they don't want to talk about their feelings and they don't want to go to counseling. But for the men you have seen, have any of them ever said, I regret leaving my wife?
Yeah, I have definitely seen that before where for men, I don't see as much men initiating counseling until the person is like, if their wife is like, if you don't get this together, I'm leaving.
Right.
Then that's when a lot of times I see men initiating. But if it hasn't gotten to that point yet, then they don't feel kind of the pain of their choices for them to make a decision. And so that's why they don't a lot of times initiate getting help.
That'd be great if they did initiate to get help. Like you said, most of the time it's us, it's the females, because we're open to
Mm-hmm.
talk. So, and I get it. They're a different type of species, but in the result, because we're talking about this and things happen. Now I want to talk about, like, the holidays, and how some people don't even like the holidays, because maybe there was an affair and the person found out around the holidays, and then now they're split and their family is divided, so they just hate holidays now.
Yeah, a lot of times holidays can be triggering, especially if the relationship ended during the holiday season. Or, say, for example, there was an affair happening during the holidays. And so now, when Christmas or Thanksgiving comes up, they're reminded of the fact that they're alone, they're reminded of the fact of what happened. And it kind of reinforces that feeling of, like, am I not enough? Am I not good enough? And
Right.
those feelings of sadness can start to come up.
Right. And even though I know, like you said, it brings up because the holiday comes around, but what are some things that you can maybe recommend just to get that person in a good mood, to want to receive the holidays again?
Clean, that's a very good question. One of the things that I recommend is getting support. Getting support is so crucial. The thing is, a lot of times when a person is feeling depressed, they don't have any energy, they feel tired, they feel fatigued. And so, a lot of times when a person is feeling depressed, they want to isolate. But that's the worst possible thing that they can do during this time. What's
Right.
going to help them come out of it is staying connected to their support system.
Right.
And if they don't have a support system, working on building a support system. And that doesn't necessarily mean going into the details of everything that their significant other did, but it could mean like, Mom, let's go shopping, or Dad, let's go play basketball, or friend, let's go for a walk. Like, it just getting out the house, doing something physical is one thing that's going to help. And then the other thing is working on coping skills. Like, sometimes we may have maladaptive coping skills, like coping skills that don't work, that aren't effective. Like, for
Right.
some people, they might drink more when they feel depressed because they don't want to have that feeling. So then they self-medicate with alcohol or drugs. But instead, what I would recommend.
Thank you for tuning into part 1 of Holiday Blues Infidelity. Tune in this Thursday for part 2, and I thank you for tuning in tonight, and I will see you Thursday. Lady Kay.